Welcome to the Silent Thread. Today's story takes us to a moment where fear, silence, and destiny collided, until one unexpected voice stepped forward and changed everything. The desert sun was brutal that afternoon. A convoy of armored trucks moved slowly across rough ground, carrying soldiers and supplies to a distant outpost. Above them, the steady thump of a Black Hawk helicopter offered comfort. It was their guardian in the sky, watching the hills and valleys for any sign of danger. But machines don't always hold up. The Black Hawk had been in the air for less than an hour when trouble struck. The engine sputtered, coughed, and warning lights lit up the cockpit. Inside, soldiers tightened their grip on their seats as the vibrations grew worse. "Engine 1 failure," the pilot called out, his voice sharp with urgency. He tried to restart it, but nothing worked. The commander on board, a battle-hardened officer with years of experience, knew exactly what this meant: a helicopter going down in enemy territory, full of soldiers and supplies. Time was running out. The pilot wrestled with the controls, fighting to keep them steady, but gravity had its way. The Black Hawk dropped lower and lower until it hit the ground hard in a storm of dust. Relief spread quickly. They were alive, but it didn't last long. The helicopter was crippled, the outpost still miles away, and enemy fighters were known to be close. The commander called everyone together. His voice was firm, but the tension was clear. "We need this helicopter back in the air. We can't protect both the convoy and a grounded bird. If the enemy takes this, the mission is lost." But there was another problem. The pilot was shaken, his co-pilot injured. Someone else would have to fly the helicopter. Silence hung heavy. No one stepped forward. Radios crackled, boots shifted in the sand, but not a single volunteer spoke up. Finally, the commander asked, his voice edged with urgency, "Is there anyone here who can fly a Black Hawk?" For a moment, only the desert wind answered. Then, almost too softly to hear, a voice came from the back of the group. "I can fly it." Heads turned in surprise. The voice belonged to a young woman, a logistics specialist, usually seen moving supplies or handling paperwork. Quiet, reserved, hardly noticed by most of the unit. The commander squinted at her. "What did you say?" She stepped forward, calm despite the doubtful stares. "I said I can fly it, sir. I trained on Blackhawks in flight school. I wasn't assigned as a pilot here, but I logged over 200 hours before being transferred." Murmurs spread. Some soldiers shook their heads in disbelief. Could this quiet woman really take control of such a powerful machine? The commander studied her for a long moment, the weight of the decision heavy on his shoulders. Every life here depended on what happened next. "If you fail," he told her quietly, "we all fail." Her reply was steady and clear. "Then I won't fail." The commander finally gave his decision with a firm nod. "Get her in the cockpit." Soldiers quickly cleared the way. She stepped forward, climbed into the pilot's seat, and buckled in with steady hands. The injured co-pilot managed a faint smile, while the main pilot reluctantly handed over the controls. She placed her hands on the sticks, whispered something under her breath, and powered up the systems. The rotors groaned, then spun faster and faster until the deep, familiar thump filled the air. Hope flickered among the soldiers watching, but they knew this was only the beginning. Flying a damaged Black Hawk on one engine across enemy territory was a test few could survive. The helicopter lifted off, kicking up sand and dust. For a moment, it dipped dangerously, and hearts stopped. Then, with quick, careful adjustments, she leveled it out. Calm, focused, she set her eyes on the horizon. "Steady, Lieutenant." "Bring her home," the commander said through the headset. She answered not with words, but with action. The Black Hawk climbed, holding steady in her control. Below, the convoy cheered, relief flooding over them. Their guardian was back in the sky. But danger was still ahead. Smoke rose in the distance, gunfire echoed from the ridges, and tracer rounds cut through the air. She stayed calm, flying low when needed, then rising to clear rough terrain. When bullets streaked dangerously close, she made a sharp, smooth turn that left even the toughest soldiers in awe. Inside, her heart raced. She thought of her family, her training, and the dream she once had of being a pilot full-time. Now, fate had handed her that chance in the most unexpected way. At last, the outpost came into view. battered but standing strong. The Black Hawk descended smoothly and touched down with precision. Soldiers rushed in, unloading supplies and helping the injured. The commander was the last to step out. He looked at her, still in the cockpit, hands trembling now that the danger had passed. For the first time that day, he smiled. "You just saved more lives than you'll ever know," he said softly. She nodded, too overwhelmed to answer. Word spread quickly. The quiet girl, the one no one noticed, had flown a crippled Black Hawk through danger, protected the convoy, and saved them all. She proved that courage doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it speaks softly, and then takes flight. That night, under the wide desert sky, the soldiers sat together, their laughter carrying into the night. In the middle of them sat the same quiet girl, still humble, but forever changed in their eyes. When the commander raised his glass, he said only one thing. "To the pilot we never knew we had, and the hero we'll never forget." So remember this, the bravest among us are often the ones we least expect. When all hope seems lost, courage can rise from the quietest heart and carry everyone to safety. Thank you for watching Silent Thread. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that heroes are often hidden in plain sight.